So, good morning, everybody. This is the third day of the same short story number 6, An Angel in Disguise by T.s Arthur. As we are going to finish this story today, we have only last 2 pages to explain today. So, first of all, I would like to ask to all the students that am I visible and audible to everybody? All right. So please take out your book, page number 85. Okay. As 3 days we're going to have today. So I would like to ask some brief summary of this story to you. Are you ready for this? Okay. Akriti Mishra has only raised. Those who want to give a short story of this story till which page we have studied, please make me sure that you are going to give it. So I will first ask to Akriti Mishra.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Yes.
Ma'am, Angel in Disguise is a short story which is written by T.s Arthur. So in this story, he has made Maggie, youngest, bedridden child, which which becomes an angel in the life of Mr. Joe Thompson and Jane Thompson. So this is basically a story of that idleness, vice, and intemperance has taken the life of three children and a mother.
Okay.
And the mother has died because of these kind of things, activities. So, and the mother had three children. The eldest one is the John, and then Kate, and the Maggie's the youngest, bedridden. She has injured her spine after a fall from a window. So the story goes on like this. So their mother is died. So thereafter, a farmer Jonas has taken the
Farmer Jones.
eldest. Yes,
Farmer Jones.
and yes, ma'am, Farmer Jones, and the Kate. A girl between 10 and 12 years was a bright and active girl and who was taken away by
Mrs. Ellis.
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Ellis. And then after the youngest child, Maggie was left all alone. So she was very afraid of living alone, and the cry was only that she has to be taken only to the poor house where she could get a better life. And then after Joe Thompson, the wheelwright, who was still standing there in front of the small hovel. So therefore, he loved children, so he was not willing to leave alone the Maggie. Therefore, he carried her to the home. But the wife of the Joe Thompson, Mrs. Jane Thompson, was a very short, ill-tempered lady. So first she cried after seeing Maggie. She told, "Why you brought the sick brat home?" But then after she means produced motherly feelings towards that Maggie.
Okay.
So and then at the end of the story, she became an angel in disguise in the life of Mr. Joe and Jane Thompson.
Okay, who are childless couple. Okay. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So very good, Akriti. Thanks for I hope clear to everybody. So today now we are going to start the last page where we were on page number 85, no? Akriti? We were on page number 85, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Which para? Which paragraph? Ayush Kumar, on which para we were on the last day?
Ma'am, we were on the third para.
On page number 85.
Yes, ma'am, 85.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so paragraph number 3. I thought you understood me that she was to go to the poor house, replied Joe, as if surprised her question. So actually, he was ignoring not to talk on the same matter that is related to Maggie. So that he was just giving time to replace the place of a child in the life of Mrs. Thompson. So that is why he was not starting anything about Maggie's concern. His wife was also waiting for that why her husband is not saying anything about Maggie to go to poor house, because a great slowly a motherly feeling is starting developing where in the heart of Mrs. Thompson as well. So she was waiting. Finally, there was a question was roaming in the mind, and she asked that what are you going to do with that child? Then he, without giving too much attention, actually he had, but to showing that I'm not going to care of that without doing any much of attention, he told that I thought you understood me that she was to go to the poor house. Okay, when that question was asked to Mr. Thompson, he shows that he was not thinking any care of that question, and then he simply replied that you already know the fact that she is to be sent where to the poor house. Mrs. Thompson looked rather strangely at her husband's for sonic movement and then dropped her eyes. Finally, she saw at the face of her husband and then after dropped her eyes. The subject was not again referred to during the meal, and it was not asked again neither by the wife nor by the husband. Okay. At its close, Mrs. Thompson toasted a slice of bread, and softened it with milk and butter, adding to this a cup of tea. And she took these things where she took she took them into the Maggie's room and held a small waiter on which she had placed them, while the hungry child ate with very sign of pleasure. As I told you yesterday that she was half thrived children with her brother and sister. So she ate pleasantly that what good things, good breakfast or meal she had the very first time in her life. So that was giving pleasure to the girl Maggie. Is it good? Asked Mrs. Thompson, seeing with what a keen relish the food was taken. The way she was taking the food was, giving a pleasure to Mrs. Thompson. She was greatly seeing the way the girl was taking the the good meal and was asking that is it good? The child paused with a cup in her hand and answered with a look of gratitude that awoke a new life, old human feelings which had been slumbering in her heart for a half scores of the year. Half scores of the year. Many years have been passed, but that feeling and that look, that love of a child could not be seen by the couple. So the mother was, having that sense that the eyes, which was, you can see that the eyes, the sight purely look on the Mrs. Thompson, the mother, and then that was not developed before at least half scores of the year. We will keep her a day or two longer. She is so weak and helpless. When she says, Mrs. Thompson says that we will keep this girl a day or 2 day or more than 2 days. Why? Because she is very weak and She is also helpless. In answer to her husband's remark at breakfast time on the next morning that he must step down and see the guardians to the poor house about Maggie. As he was searching for the guardian, so he is to be so in that way she was making extend the stay of the girl. She will be so much in your way, said Joe. I shan't mind that for a day or the two, poor thing. So she thought she actually he was ignoring no that he just wanted to see that as he had developed a fatherly love her in his heart. So why not Joe? Why not Jane? So that is why he just wanted to give a time to that mother and the girl Maggie. And then after he was not giving too much response, whatever things were told by uh, his wife. Joe did not see the guardian of the poor on the next day, nor on the next day following. So he was not going to take care of the guardian because he himself wants to keep Maggie with them. Okay. He enjoyed the pleasure of the company of the girl. Okay. In fact, he never saw them at all on Maggie's account. For in less than a week, Mrs. Joe Thompson would as soon leave thought of taking up her own abode in the anxious and sending Maggie's here. Okay, for a week, actually, the both person means Mrs. Thompson and Maggie, they both have mixed up too much. So the mind to go to poor house or something gone away from the mind of the lady. Next page. What light and blessing did that sick and helpless child bring to the home of Joe Thompson, the poor wheelwright? It had been dark and cold and miserable there for a long time just because his wife had nothing to love and care for out of herself and so become sore, irritable, and ill tempered, and self afflicting and so isolation in a woman's nature. As for a long time, there was nobody to love and to look after in the house of Mr. Thompson. Due to that lackness, Mrs. Thompson became very short tempered, and there are some quality given. See that she becomes cold, miserable, irritable, sore, and all things self affecting lady she has been in this year. So when she saw, the presence of the girl Maggie gives them pleasure. Okay. Now the sweetness of that sick child looking ever to her in love. So the love can be seen now. Patience and gratitude was as honey to her soul, means that honey, that sweetness now come in the in the talks, in the words, in the sentences, and in the eyes of the lady. See, as for Joe Thompson, there was not a man in all the neighborhoods who drank daily of a more precious wine and then more precious wine of a life than he. An angel had come into his house disguised as a sick, helpless, and miserable child. Disguised, actually, she was disguised, no? She was angel. Writer is saying that she was angel, but disguised a helpless child. She was disguised into a helpless child, sick child, bedridden child, no? Sick, helpless, and miserable child, and filled all its dreary chamber with the sunshine of love. So that chamber in which Mr. Joe Thompson has put on the girl that was somewhere giving the light, sunshine in the life of the life, childless couple. So that was all about this story. I hope that this story has been completely understood by you all. Now we will discuss title of the story. For title, students, please take out your book, page number 117. Now we are going to discuss title of your workbook. Just open the page. Have you all opened? Okay, all right. So, An Angel is in Disguise is the most appropriate title for the story. The plot of the story revolves around Maggie. As you can see that in this story we have Maggie. So the complete plot is somewhere, revolving to this girl, a bedridden child who brings happiness in the life of the childless couple, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Thompson, and thus acts like an angel for them as their life was lifeless due to the lack of a child. So when she came in their house, places come and a sunshine come in the house of this couple. Maggie, after her mother's death, was left all alone in the house due to a spinal injury. She could not walk and was bedridden. Due to that problem, as everybody know, that she had been somewhere a spinal injury, and due to that, she was completely bedridden. Okay. Though everybody in the village pitied her, nobody was willingly to take her in. Actually, the people of the village have a great pity in their heart, in their mind regarding Maggie. But nobody was going to take tension that they will look after the girl. Okay, they have pity in their mind, but that is a big thing to keep that sick, a girl who was somewhere bedridden to their house. So it's a big thing. Okay. However, Mr. Joe Thompson, who was a compassionate man, felt it cruel to leave Maggie alone. But when we talk on the main character, Mr. Joe Thompson, we find that that was a man who was full of compassion. So when he saw the lady, he could not, dare to leave to leave the girl alone in that hovel. Okay, and then he feared that his wife Jane would not welcome Maggie. However, he took her home. Joe, in fact, could not connect with Maggie. Could not connect with Maggie. The moment he looked in his arms and felt as if he loved had sprung into his life. Joe's wife, after initial inhibition, grew fond of Maggie and grew up the thought of sending and gave up the thought of sending away to a poor house. Finally, as I explained that in the very beginning when she came, she did not welcome the girl, but finally a love is being started in her heart. Okay. It seemed that Maggie gave her a purpose in life. When Maggie came, she gave her a purpose of life to live. She transformed her from an irritable and ill-tempered woman to a loving, caring person. Joe Thompson felt as if an angel had come into their house disguised in form of helpless Maggie and filled their home and heart with sunshine of love. See, in this way we could understand that how title is completely appropriate. See, title is saying that I am an angel. So yes, she became an angel in the life of where the life of Mr. and Mrs. Thompson is lifeless. Okay, childless. So that become what? Full of pleasure. In the presence of this girl, Maggie. Okay. In the presence of this girl, Maggie, it becomes full of pleasure, happiness came. When we talk on the lady, that is Mrs. Thompson, we have the character of that lady in which she was completely ill-tempered. She, does not like anything in her life because her life was purpose. Her life was without purpose. So how she disguised a sick, a sick, bedridden child? She disguised in this, okay, sick and bedridden child, but that disguised form becomes an angel in the life of that person. So I hope that title is clear to you. Now, students, in the next class, we will discuss characterization of Maggie, Joe Thompson, Jane Thompson, and some minor characters like John and Kate, and Farmer Joe and Mrs. Ellis. So, tomorrow prepare these things as title and plot have been discussed. Characterization will be discussed. Yesterday or maybe day after yesterday, I have sent you video on Merchant of Venice scene 2, Act 2, scene 6 and 7. Did you get this? So that two scenes were left. I could not make video on that, but I was getting time on that day, so I thought to make it. So now Merchant of Venice, all the scenes and all the acts were there on your WhatsApp. You can see if you have any problem. Okay. Now from my side, Merchant of Venice is completely completed. Now there's two videos I have to make. That is of the same chapter, and then the last daffodil will be given line by line. I will share my screen and all. Then so I hope that things are clear to you. And for your preparation, themes and settings also is to be discussed, setting and then after style. Try to study these things. Okay. And I will try to make some videos on the question answer given in your book. After that, I will do that is the things we will discuss here in the class as well. So student, as time is going to finish, I will stop here. So thank you so much and have a nice day.